Hey everyone, welcome back to Osage Prairie Trains. As you can see, we've got a new layout to introduce. The last time I did a video was a couple months ago, and it was for the layout that we had at the time, which was an O-gauge layout. That layout was 3 feet by 7 feet. Since then, over the holiday break, I decided that layout didn't provide too much in the way of just space to tinker with and to build and change things around. So I decided that I was going to go back to N-scale. We've previously had N-scale layouts, and decided to go back to it. Decided to rebuild the table as well. That old table was made of plywood and 2x4s, and I wanted something that looked a little nicer for the train room. So built this new table over the Christmas break. This is actually on a hollow core door, 36 inches by 80 inches, so pretty close to the same size as the last layout. But it's got a piece of foam on top of the door, and then I trimmed around the edges. And I'll do zoomed in pictures of that here in a little bit. But it looks really nice. It's on metal legs that I picked up off Amazon, and it's a good looking table. I was always nervous about a hollow core door and that the legs wouldn't be able to get affixed as well as I'd like them to, but they seem to be the way that I framed it all up and everything. I'm pretty comfortable with how they work. It's just got to be careful moving it around. But there's the overall layout. Let's take a closer look. All right, let's take a look at the track plan first. Track plan is pretty basic, consists of an inner and an outer loop with sidings. We've got on the back side of the layout, we've got a siding on the inner loop, and then on the front side of the layout, I guess if you will, we've got a siding on each loop. The outer loop has the siding on the outer, and the inner loop has the siding on the inner. The outer loop siding and spurs are pretty much set. That track is glued down, and in this case, on this end, it's ballasted in. I haven't fully decided how I'm going to do the inner loop spurs coming off the siding. I just haven't decided what kind of industry or engine facilities I might put in place on those. So still determining that, but that track has not been glued down yet, and as such, I've also kind of held off on doing the scenery so far in this area. But speaking of scenery, scenery in progress in this corner, as you can see, ballast, ground cover in place, gravel pad with some railroad ties, and as you can see there in the top part of the screens, those are ties in under construction. I just stained those, so once those dry, I'll put them out on the layout or just use them other places. So that's what we've got working on this so far. I'm just got the initial ground cover down. I haven't come in and added any other shades yet. But let's walk down here. You can see I've got the ballast on the outer loop, this between the siding and the main line down here. And then we've got this spur at this end. So pretty basic layout, but allows to run 2 trains. I think the main point of this layout is just to run trains, but also there'll be opportunities to do some switching and play around with that once we get the track plan finalized and everything, and I figure out what we want to do as far as industries. Okay, thus far I have neglected to talk about the track itself. The track is Kato Unitrack that I've been ballasting up, as I mentioned, that you can see here. I think it looks really good. I know that there's some others out there on YouTube that have done a really good job with ballasting you know, essentially covering up all the plastic roadbed parts. I've not done that to the extent that they have. I'm satisfied with the way this looks. Plus, I'm always concerned about getting the ballast and everything close to the wheels and gears on the train and affecting those. But I'm pleased with the way it's been coming out, and like pretty much everything Kato, it's extremely reliable, robust, very high quality. Power for the track is from 2 Kato power packs, one for each loop. And then underneath, I've got jumpers connected to the track, to each loop around the track, to ensure that we have continuous power, and it works out very well. The trains run very smoothly around the layout with barely any noticeable change in operating speed or anything as they go around. So very pleased with how this turns out. I've got a lot of wires under here. I've tried to organize them as best I could and make it look neat. So it probably looks neater in real life than it does in this video. But as I mentioned too, with the stability of the door and it being a hollow core door and not a lot of, you know, not a lot to screw to on the door itself, I attached these 1x6s. I glued them and screwed them to the bottom of the door and then glued the legs to it. And it's pretty stable. You just have to be careful moving it around to make sure you don't, you know, bend it and snap it off or something like that. While we're down here, I can also mention that, like I said, it's a hollow core door with a piece of foam on top, and what I did was put a piece of facing along the edge to hide that transition of the edge of the door and the side of the foam. And I'm very pleased with how this turned out along here. So that's just nailed on there, and then I painted it all. So really happy with how the table itself looked. Like I said, I think of all the train tables I've built, this is this is definitely the nicest one. Well, we talked about the track and the power packs on the layout being Kato brand, but also the rolling stock and locomotives is Kato brand. I'm sure that sometime in the future we'll be branching out, but that's all we have right now is Kato. I've just found them to be extremely reliable. They run very well, and the price point on them they're just a tremendous value in my opinion. So never had any problems with them, and they put out a very good product, very detailed. Maybe not as detailed as some of the other ones, but in general, for the price point that you're getting, they're just a tremendous value. So appreciate everybody watching the video. Let's finish it up by running the trains around for a few minutes, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.